I mean, all right, look. For those of you who've never seen Power Rangers, which you probably have if you're watching this video, but pretty much a synopsis of it is they're doing something nice. Monster comes, fight, morph, monster grows, Megazord, done.
Blow up, and there you go.
And it's very repetitive. Yeah, that's the word. Repetitive, especially season 1 and 2. Now, Bulk and Skull really come in and they bring a lot of comic relief.
And they help touch on a lot of subjects. I mean, that was kind of the time the bullying was starting to get into its peak. And that's, in a sense, what they were going into this series. They were bullies.
Most definitely, yeah.
But as time went on, they grew. Not just, they went from bullies to they ended up in a police academy. Yeah. And after that, detectives and so on.
My absolute favorite phase of them, it was them trying to discover out who the Power Rangers were. I love that. Again, we're going back into the seasons, which we're trying not to. But anyways, yes, at this time, Bulk and Skull are graduates of the Police Cadet
Academy. They're just now getting back onto the force, and during a small portion of it, they get captured by Divatox. And from this, we don't exactly know, but it kind of looks like they've been brainwashed or something.
Yeah.
Because they're going around saying they are Antonio Banderas.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but Skull is no Antonio Banderas.
that was one of my absolute favorite ones, and I mean, he's such a good actor. So again, as it does say in the description here, Divatox is after a magician named Largo, who is a friend of Alpha's. And they want to make a little trade. They want to trade Largo for someone who's important to the Rangers. And that is where we get into some of the Retro Rangers, which is really cool. Kimberly and Jason.
I mean, Kimberly, an original, Jason, original. Kimberly, a little more than others. Most people just mainly remember her as quite possibly the hottest Pink Ranger of all time.
Easily.
And not only that, the first and main love interest of Tommy.
Yes.
I mean, that right there was a major thing when you see Kimberly back in the movie and no one expected it coming. Jason, on the other hand, you kind of see it, but you didn't expect it too much.
Yeah. One of the cool things that I really loved about it, and I guess maybe we have Austin St. John to thank for this, that's the guy who played Jason, is the fact that Kimberly and Jason got to be evil. And that was a really cool twist on it, and I think that was Austin St. John's idea. He said he would only come back for the movie if he could play an evil character, and I really liked that. I thought that was really neat, because you see these people who you grew up with in the series, and now they've all of a sudden turned evil, and of course you get to see a little battle between him and JDF, which was
right.
really cool.
And a lot of people, throughout, I can't remember her name, Amy Jo Johnson, throughout most of her career, she was typecast as the prom queen, this pretty little girl that, was above being bad and evil, and she was just the all-around essential good person in the world.
Yeah.
And this allowed her to actually strut and show her range as an actress.
And she even took a stab at her old role, so to speak, at that little comment she made to Kat. Oh yeah, sweetie, Pink is out. And then she
just decks her. I mean,
kicks Kat right in the sun. That was so cool. And then there's like a moment where Tommy removes his helmet and he's like really talking to her, all sincere, and you're like, oh my gosh, they're getting back together. But of course, they
right.
don't.
And and it was one of those things, because we've always seen, a Ranger that's evil turn good. There's always, that's a reoccurring thing throughout most of Power Ranger series or movies or whatever you want. But we've never seen a Ranger, or a former Ranger for that matter, go evil.
Right. Yeah. Oh yeah. So that was a really neat twist. So Brock, what were your thoughts on the new Megazord?
Now, as a drag racing fan, car fan all around, the new Megazord was, in my opinion, the best Megazord we had seen since the original. Now, keep in mind, the original, it's the original. It will always be the best. But Turbo, in my opinion, had one of, if not the best Megazords ever to come around. I mean, it's all based on cars and moving and steering and just in-your-face full throttle action.
I will say, the Turbo Megazord was way better than the Zeo Megazord.
The original, yes, the Zeo Megazord, I didn't care too much. It was still that animals. Now the Super Zeo you got to give it to it there. You know, it was something a little different. We kind of seen it in them do something similar in the Ninja season, you know, season 3. But, you know, Turbo just had one of the best ones ever. I mean, you look at it and it literally looked like a car. It had parts and everything. It had wheels. The sword even had lights on it.
Right. All right. So earlier today, I went to the Power Ranger fans page on on Facebook, and I asked you guys what were some of your favorite moments from Turbo, a Power Rangers movie. And this is what you guys had to say. James Kelly.
If we pronounce that wrong, we do apologize. James Keeley or Kelly, one of them, we do apologize.
He says, I've got 3 favorite moments. When they created their powers, which that was a really cool
It
thing,
was.
you know?
Now, they didn't exactly say what happened to the Zeo, but we can assume based on that, you know, based on them creating the turbo powers, it was based off of the Zeo powers. They just, in a sense, gave it nitrous oxide and said, here we go.
Yeah. The first time they morph. Now, this, in my opinion, the morph from Turbo, a Power Rangers movie, is my favorite morph. So much, in fact, I learned how to do the morph. I love it. It's one of my favorites. You got the little car action there.
Exactly.
I really like it. So,
I mean, and not to mention a key. Instead of, you know, whereas with Zeo, you had 2 separate morphers. Yeah. Turbo, you went to one morpher with a key.
Yeah.
Which later on became a thing in Megaforce.
Exactly. And the first time they formed the Megazord. Now, here's a funny story. In the movie, they formed the Megazord, no problem.
Absolutely not.
And then in the season, there's a couple of times.
The very first episode, they formed the Megazord, and they're like, okay, this doesn't go here. We're messing this up.
They screwed it up.
It was great.
But, yes, James, I definitely agree with you.
Eric Robertson. When Jason and Kimberly returned, yes, great moment. I mean, for all of us that go back to the original, you know, Retro Rangers, you can never beat the originals.
Shakir Sims, a really good friend of mine from Philadelphia, he says when they first got the Zords and their powers, kind of goes along with what James says. And
the youngest Ranger at the moment, or at the time before Mac came along. Now, a lot of people like Justin, some don't. That's in everyone's personal opinions. Personally, I have no problem against them doing it.
Yeah.
I just think later on it just became a little more of a gimmick and a running joke.
As I said earlier, I didn't care much of them for the season, but for the movie, which is what we are reviewing,
it worked.
It definitely worked. So I agree with you there. And of course, seeing Jason and Kim return and to be evil, as we touched on earlier, yes.
The entire scene where the Turbo Rangers fight them and Divatox was more phenomenal. Yeah. Divatox, I will go ahead and say this, up to that point, the hottest villain we had ever had, next to Scorpino. I mean, Scorpino was, you know, come on now, but
then now everyone knows I have a huge thing for Melody Perkins, who played Astronema on Power Rangers in Space. Later came back as Corone.
I'll have to give it to her at that one.
But definitely up until that point, Divatox, you know, definitely had some sex appeal, and it was a little even risque, you know, her.
Exactly.
I mean, so, yeah, I definitely agree. Well, guys, that is our review for Turbo, a Power Rangers movie. You can get this on Amazon.com. Link will be in the description box below. Feel free, please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. There are many more great things coming in the future. Let's see, I do want to give a shout out to a really great YouTuber. His name is MeMug713. Go and check him out. He has a lot of cool things as far as cosplay. Brock, any final thoughts, final words?
Turbo, a Power Rangers movie. Like I've said, it's its own entity. It's its own, in my opinion, it was the best way to lead into a TV series. Now, some people will disagree with me. I didn't care for Turbo. Wasn't one of the best seasons we had. But I think for what it was worth, the movie itself was the best way to lead into a TV series. And was as far as I know, the only movie to lead into a TV series.
Definitely. Overall, I would have to give Turbo a solid 7 out of 10.
I would give it a 7 out of 10. I have to go 8 though, just because Kat was hot.
Just because Kat was 7 out of 10 because of you, Catherine Sutherland. Just because of you. Well, guys, that is it for this video. Again, please give this video a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe. Until next time, may the power protect you. I'm out.
And I guess I'm still here.